さあ本日は LJL2020 サマースプリットウィーク5まもなく次の試合ラスカルジェスターバス
Alright, and as we get right back into things, coming up next, for Game 3 of Week 5, we have Rascal Jester taking on Burning Core. And this is another of the matchups that is on sort of the lower rungs, and for Rascal Jester, after their loss against Sengoku, it's going to be a necessary one for their playoff chances. Now, Burning Core is the best of the lower end teams that is able to still make playoffs. But I do kind of want to talk to the last game a little bit in two things that I noticed from Rascal Jester right away. Where previously I was praising them that they looked like they were having better drafts coming out of week 3 when they had their win against Axes. And then they outdrafted Hawks Gaming, and they had an amazing game there. I think there's a couple of things we're sort of noticing coming out of our 2-week gap, where, one, stop picking the bear. Stop B1ing the bear. The bear is not good. The bear has, had effectively null impact on both games so far. But that being said, I don't think Rascal Jester had quite the comp that was going to support the new mid, and I'm hoping that we don't see it shied away from entirely due to its loss. I'm hoping that we kind of see the teams picking around it slightly more effectively. We should not be, the pushing all of the damage onto one Ezreal that ended up getting beat out in the bot lane already was just way too much of an ask. You can't be setting up a bot lane solo carry when you were leaving Ashe and Bard on the table that are just going to completely sterilize that lane, or furthermore, send your Ezreal 0-2-0 into the mid game and not allow Rascal Jester nearly any chance to kind of roll back through this one. Now, for the side of Burning Core, somewhat of an interesting story is Burning Core, where their drafts have been okay, at least as far as the LJL standard goes. Their drafting has been decent all throughout. The issue that I think is plaguing Burning Core, and hopefully what I would love to see them learn from after in this 2-week off season, is I would hope that we see Burning Core fix up a lot of their objective priority. They operate, it almost feels like Burning Core is kind of stuck in a time lock of the way we played early on in the spring split, where we thought, where a lot of teams were just all-inning on every objective, rotating like full teams over to one Rift Herald, which ultimately lost them like 3 turret plates between, 2 turret plates bot lane, 1 in the mid lane, and then, you hope that you win the fight around it because you're already dedicating that many resources to just one simple Rift Herald. All of that kind of being said, is Burning Core, it sort of feels like old habits die hard, and they hurt a lot more when Burning Core doesn't exactly have the strongest lanes in the game. In their game against Sengoku most recently, there was a 100 CSD between their mid and bot lane to the side of Sengoku, and that's not to say that they aren't able to keep their CS numbers up, but if you're already struggling in your solo lanes to keep pace with the enemy team, you cannot be affording to give up multiple turret plates or to be passing or to having towers just going down in trade for one Rift Herald that you'll cash in a couple hundred gold off of. All of that being said, Rascal Jester and Burning Core up to bat here. That's going to be the Kindred and the Elise banned away. And one of the things that I do also think becomes relevant, or at least was relevant in the past of Burning Core, is a lot of teams would not ban Varus. Lethality Varus has kind of been meta-dominant for the early parts of this split. But Burning Core specifically have not opted into it, and the one time they did, they had no success on it, and it's kind of been this like known notion among the other teams that you can pass over Varus if you really want to, because Burning Core are not going to take it, and if they do, they can't exactly capitalize off of it. Although one thing they can capitalize off of is the Echo, which was banned away by Rascal Jester. Once had a pretty good performance on that Echo. He plays it very aggressively from very early on in the game. While Karma and Elise are banned away from the side of Burning Core, their last ban still to be decided. Might see an Ashe ban or an Aphelios ban. It's really one or the other here. So we haven't seen Aphelios make it through the draft so far, but Ashe has had a decent win rate going forward, as Ezreal is going to be the one taken away. Possibly Burning Core looking to take a trade of whichever Rascal Jester do not take, and they will send it on the Aphelios, which does leave Ashe open for Burning Core. And they'll be hovering that one right away. The other thing that it opens up for Burning Core is Trundle moving his way back up in value. Although Trundle did receive a couple light nerfs in the past couple patches, the thing that makes Trundle strong is still present. The Pillar is still such a great tool for zone control. You can easily make it, or you can make it very hard for a champion like Aphelios to advance when you're dealing with a slow and a potential knock-up if he's able to get in range of that. So Rascal Jester still with a couple picks up and available. They can't even go for a Katarina here if they want to give Pink his signature pick, but the sort of issue that we always run into when seeing a cat is that Rascal Jester, or that cat doesn't exactly synergize with carries like Aphelios. Typically want something that's going to dive along with her. But it will be Lulu setting up this Aphelios for hyper carry status. But can still be flexed to the mid lane if we want to see Pink more often on those supportive types of mids, which takes a lot of the onus of action off of him. And the bear will be locked in once again, hitting the rift, this time again on the side of Rascal Jester. Burning Core passing over the bear, and honestly, if you're asking me, I like that Burning Core are avoiding the bear for now. Well, they still have a couple picks left to be picked up. Kha'Zix was buffed recently, did get the isolation buff, and Burning Core are going to be picking up the Kha'Zix. I believe he got a 20% bonus to his Q isolation damage. So Kha'Zix will be hitting the rift on the side of Once. And this is a very Once champion. This is very in his wheelhouse of he loves to be in the face of the enemy jungler 24/7. And what better champion to be in your face than the bug that is just going to try and murk you every step of the way. And if you don't have lanes there, that's a lot of extra bonus damage going to be flying in. So second wave of bans come out. Malzahar, another ban sent over to Rascal Jester, although Pink didn't even have the best performance on the Malzahar. I believe it was sent into a Tristana mid, and it just mopped up Pink. He was not able to get nearly any value out of it. But still is worth banning out, especially if you're going to have an assassin like Kha'Zix on your team. And speaking of assassins, one thing I always get excited for is I did see a Zed hover a little while ago, so opportunity still there for you, Geo, to be busting that one out, but still a little bit of time to be seen. I do like the Ornn ban coming out from Burning Core. Holds a lot of the longer range engaged champs over on their side of things between the Ashe and the Bard ultimate. You don't want to be giving that over to Rascal Jester because the only way Bear is going to get in is if he has enough something else to support his way in, and Ornn will do just that, as Galio is going to be banned away. A fairly safe ban. Does kind of the heroic entrance makes it a little bit easier for Once to invade often on the Kha'Zix because he has that added security, can fly in another member, and if you're taunted up in a 2v1 against a Kha'Zix, you are not going to be standing up for long. But LeBlanc is going to be sent by Yu-Gi-Oh! Another champion that has a lot of mid-roam potential and adds a lot of damage to this mid-jungle 2v2. So we'll see what Rascal Jester are able to respond with. It's becoming very detrimental to send this Lulu into the mid lane. If they do lock in the Nautilus here, and I'm a little bit worried that might be what Rascal Jester do. But that will be the Nautilus locked in here. Most likely going to be sending that one over to Nagi. And Pink is going to have quite the storm to weather here. But Rascal Jester have their last pickup to be decided on. Where would this Volibear be going? Flex between jungle and top. Thinking about the Jace, not a whole lot of poke damage to really support a Jace here, but Kokog knows the lane he wants, and he will be picking that one up. I wouldn't have been honestly too surprised to see something like a Maokai come in, or to dedicate a little bit more to giving Aphelios the platform of team fight. But locking into Jace does give them a top lane strong side of the map, and hopefully Hachimecha will be able to use that to play around, while Ray asks for the Camille to be able to duke it out in the top lane with the Jace. I don't mind the Camille here. It does have decent roam potential. You can buy a Tiamat and try to push in the waves as often as possible and hopefully meet up with Kha'Zix for those 2v2s. The only thing I do get a little bit worried about is the later ends of the game for Rascal Jester, where you're not going to have a whole lot of split push potential to walk alongside this Camille, especially if Kha'Zix is able to get the ball rolling, but it will really be onus on to once here. If he's able to find a couple early kills and hopefully start spreading his influence across the map, would potentially be benefit to the side of Burning Core. And this is sort of one of the other issues, is we have a little bit of an overlay bug, as the bug didn't appear on the overlay, but that aside, one of the things that I do look at when you're talking about an assassin like Kha'Zix in the jungle, and one of the sort of struggles of assassin-y champions in the jungle for Season 10 is Kha'Zix specifically kind of circumvents the need for a lot of damage items early on with that isolation bonus damage, and you kind of, his play route is supposed to kind of, I have the isolation damage bonus for early on in the game that will hopefully give me a little bit of leverage over my opponent. I can get some items off of those advantages and then use those towards later into the game when I don't have the isolation as readily available, especially towards team fight phase. You would hope that's how it works when you're looking at a Kha'Zix. The thing I do worry about is that if you're not bursting out the bear, the W healing does start to really add up. And it's not exactly like the bear is the most unhealthy champion in the jungle. He did have his jungle sustain nerfed a little bit with the W healing on jungle creeps. I believe that was this patch. So, possibly opportunity. And with the way the game went last time, Hachimecha did not seem the most in control on the Volibear pickup, so hopefully he'll be able to pull out a bit more control in this game, and he'll kind of need a safe side of the map to play on if he doesn't want to get run over by a Kha'Zix or by a LeBlanc roaming in on him. That will definitely have pushing pressure into a champion like Lulu mid.
かなり、ゴールドディファレンスあと15、XPT あと15と、このゴールドが15分段階でどれだけ差が生まれていたかと、経験値が15分の段階でどれだけ
As we're seeing here on the stat screen, Rascal Jester still suffering a little bit. Their stats not doing the hottest, especially after that last game where so much of that went wrong so early on for Rascal Jester. Not much you can really do on that one, but it does open up plenty of play route for Burning Core to try and get onto this map early. The one thing I do always kind of note about Burning Core is that among the lower 4 teams of the LJL, I've always kind of looked at Burning Core as they're not exactly the same amount of early game focused team that Axis, Rascal Jester, or even Hawks Gaming are kind of known to be. The story of Burning Core kind of always is a little bit of an interesting one, where they seem to have the most amount of flexibility between their comps and their picks and their champion arrays. They're just not quite able to pull out all the same wins as a couple of the other teams. And Hawks Gaming, you know, I've always talked about how they're a team that is very early game focused. They like to be out on the map, they like to play aggressively, they play very dive-oriented characters. You'll typically see them running dive comps. But Burning Core doesn't exactly have a set style, so hopefully they'll be able to find victory with the champions that they've put themselves with.
さあ始まりました LJL2020 サマースプリット Week 5 ゲーム3ラスカルチェスター vs バーニングコアスタートです。
先ほどちょっと、チェックし忘れたんですが、ラスカルチェスター実は
And as we're just looking across the overall runes here, nothing too unexpected. Somewhat notable is the rise of fleet footwork among the top laners in the LJL, and that's sort of, to my knowledge, is a regional thing. I would need to look into it a bit more. I haven't followed LJL or the JP server solo queue as closely as I would have liked. But we have seen a number of fleet footworks coming out, and especially with Camille, a champion that can so easily get to the PTA procs with that, and then have that true damage Q, bonus damage from the PTA. But fleet footwork, of course, does help out with the poke, like we always mention, and is likely going Doran Shield as well, so not getting poked out by Cog is going to be the name of the game for Ray in the top lane. And ultimately, for Ray, you kind of want the extra HP, because if a fight ever breaks out, you want to have enough HP to get in there. You may not need all of the damage that you would otherwise have. You really just need to be able to do damage at all, which is what fleet footwork really opens a path for, as Pink is going to put down a defensive ward for Rascal Jester here. And now, that ward's a little bit of an interest. I'm not a huge fan of that ward, just because you likely knew that both Burning Core, both junglers are starting on the bottom end of the map, so it won't spot once unless you were to just run straight across for an invade. But you can see once going fast to 3 here. And Hachimecha doing his best to try and clear as fast as possible, sacrificing a little bit of HP to do so. It's going to be the name of the game to get as far away from once in the jungle as you can. Half HP, going to be looking at this top side. That's a large wave to try to engage on, and Cog not level 3 yet. He's going to go for the fight anyway. Ray does not have the hookshot available. I believe he got knocked out of it. A beautiful play from Cog. Ray's going to flash away. Hachimecha's going to go for the chase. And the bite from the bear is going to be good. Hachimecha with the opening play on this one. Ray did as much as he could, but Cog smartly holding that one as once is just going to hop right in. Cog's flash going to be burned down immediately for being a bit greedy on that wave. Flash for flash, punish, but teleport advantage for Cog is not a bad deal. That being said, I do like that Hachimecha was able to leverage the farm advantage early on to get that gank just one beat before once was ready. And then having the camp advantage on him already is a great spot to be in once you have first blood as well. Pads a couple extra items onto your back here. And you can see here on the jungle playback, even doing 4 camps as opposed to Once's 3, he was able to get a gank off before Once got to his 4th camp. It was a little bit interesting that Ray wasn't properly ready for that one. He did have a ward on it, but The shoulda, couldas, and wouldas of this game are not things you want to dwell on if you are Burning Core. You unfortunately lost First Blood. That's alright. Rascal Jester is kind of known for being on the early end of things. As long as Burning Core can keep composure, they're going to have a good head on their shoulders for the rest of this game, or at least you would hope going forward.
まあどうなんでしょう、このボットでマッチアップという点で見ると。マッチアップで見るとノーチラス
The sort of scary thing about losing a little bit of the early game here is that the later ends of this game, you're going to have Yu-Gi-Oh, Once, and Ray that are all going to struggle immensely to get damage onto Art when he starts stacking up a couple items. Yu-Gi-Oh does have some potential to burst him straight through, but you're still in melee range, and with the right weapons, never where you want to be into an Aphelios, as Hachimecha is going to help shove out the mid lane wave for Pink, who is ultimately doing a good job so far of keeping pace in CS with Yu-Gi-Oh. Keeping things relatively even and rotating over to help his jungler with the Drake here. Mountain Drake, not a bad pickup by any means, does kind of offer a couple extra resistance stats, but let's see if Burning Core are going to let them go with this one. Dredgeline landed onto Once, that's a lot of damage. Before he can even get away, he's going to go straight down. And Yuhi, who popped over the wall eagerly, not enough mana to really try and duke it out, especially with the man disadvantage. Rascal Jester are just going to eat that bug right up. And a dragon to boot, that's a little extra gold for your back pocket. Rascal Jester, so far in this early end, finding all the value and more that they could want. It's a little bit of a trade from the top side here. Ray Farkey has 6. Kakax can knock him away, but how long will the Hex Deck ultimatum be? Ray's thinking about going for more. If he has Hookshot, don't think he has enough mana for Hookshot and Q, and likely means that Ray will not be able to finish off Kog'Kog on the top end of things here. As the Hawkshot spots out Hachimecha, that will be a decent amount of information over to the side of Burning Core, but as it stands right now, Once is not really able to find the most amount of value for that information, as he has not been able to be on Hachimecha as aggressively as he'd like. And even after dying to just one Dredgeline being thrown his way, it's not exactly where you want to be. Assassins on the back foot never feel good. Once is going to try to clear up a ward. Flash over the wall. Nagi's going to look for a knock up there. No ultimate, so the stun from Proud will be all that is needed to get him away to safety. I like the look there from Nagi. It was a little bit ambitious, as you don't have a whole lot of information on where the rest of Burning Core is, especially with Bard being such a roam-heavy champion. You should almost always assume that Bard is going to be on top of you. Speaking of on top of, Yu-Gi-Oh's going to go for the double chain here, get that landed up. Will he have a W up in time? Does not look like it, but that's a long trade over there onto Pink, and throws a Q for good measure, but will just force Pink away as he picks up the wave. Helps Yu-Gi-Oh just really set up a little bit of a gold advantage. Not a whole lot of kill potential, as Yu-Gi-Oh likely knew with not casting the Ignite down there. And for now, Rascal Jester are holding on to the advantage. You can see Hachimecha. He keeps trying to back. He keeps worrying that something's going to break out. Does complete his back in the end, as Rascal Jester will be shoving this one up. And I do believe they are going to be rotating up for this Rift Herald. The 5-man rotation coming out once more. Well, for now, this isn't a super terrible play. You don't lose a whole lot because Burning Core is a team that is going to go match you in the 5v5, as you can already see Yuhi and Proud rotating up here. And Once is fresh off of back. He is level 6, so he does have, I believe that is evolved Q we're seeing on the Kazakhs here. As Rift Herald down to about half HP. Burning Core looking for a way in here. Ray thinking about getting something started up here. Tempered Fate is up and Arrow is up, so they can send out some long-range spells if they need to. That's a Shock Blast over onto Ray Farkey, but the Dredge Line lands onto once there as Ray's gonna get knocked out of his hook shot. He's gonna go down. The arrow goes wide. They will be able to secure the Rift Herald in tow, and Yu-Gi-Oh should have W to get back over the wall, but they trade their top laner's life for it, as a volley is going to slow them just enough, and the Dredge Line not landing there means once can breathe a sigh of relief, as Rascal Jester will trade 1 kill for 1 Rift Herald. And that will mean that Burning Core, after grabbing that Rift Herald and running for the hills, they will unfortunately lose a turret plate to the mid lane here. And there isn't exactly much of a fight opportunity available to them. But the worrying issue is that falling behind this far on a Camille is going to make it a lot harder to start split pushing against Cog, who is kind of going to have both opportunities, but another Dredge Line, as Nagi's going to find Yu-Gi-Oh there, force him to teleport back out. The Magical Voyage will keep them safe there, while Once is duking it out with Hachimech on the other end of things. Beautiful E to dodge out on the Ephelio's Q. That's going to be another Dredge Line not going down there, as Pink's going to get blown up by Ray there. Traded 1 for 1 so far. Yuhi's barely going to live out. No, the flash from Cog will be the one that finishes him off in the end. And a little bit of just aggressive posturing from Burning Core around this objective. And this is sort of what I was talking about earlier, where Burning Core just kind of get a little bit too caught up in the objective game, where you don't really have any business trying to fight around this Ocean Drake. You just lost a fight. You barely escaped by the skin of your teeth up towards the Rift Herald when you did get it. Yu-Gi-Oh gets hooked up and gets chunked out to half HP. Once is out of this fight, and then they make the call to continue a fight here that ultimately Burning Core just had no business taking. But it's these objectives that just kind of put these blinders on Burning Core, where they don't feel like they can give up objectives. They don't feel comfortable doing that. As Yui's going to throw an ultimate onto Nagi. He shouldn't be able to run away from this one, but Hachimech is going to try to throw a stun out. And the chase will not be pursued. As Yu-Gi-Oh spawns up the Rift Herald in the mid lane, we'll be able to cash in on a number of turret plates. 320 gold over to him. And the Ocean Drake not taken so far. Rascal Jester did not decide to finish that one off, but looks like Pink is going to be the one bullied here. Flash E from Ray Farkey. Hextech Ultimatum means there's no running for the Lulu. Probably didn't need to Flash E there. Realistically, Pink does not have Flash available to him, so the Hextech Ultimatum should have been enough on its own, but better safe than sorry, as Ray's going to look for a bit of a scrap here onto Cogog in the top side. I believe he just queued a minion, which was rather unfortunate, as now the dive's going to be coming in here. No Hextech Ultimatum as the turret goes down, gets own record by the Volibear Ultimate, as Ray Farkey might just be able to cut this one out. No Shock Blast on Cog. Beautifully done from Ray. No flash, no worries, as he's going to be able to dodge out on the 3-man there up towards the top side. And Yu-Gi-Oh's going to capitalize with a little bit of solo time on the mid lane turret here. 20 CS advantage over to Yu-Gi-Oh there. It's not super detrimental to Pink, as he is opting towards support items, which are inherently cheaper, and he's more playing for art anyway. But that being said, you don't exactly want Yu-Gi-Oh getting too big, as he is one of the biggest threats to art on the side of Burning Core. But for the most part, we'll just kind of be enjoying a lull state for a little while longer. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another team fight go around this Rift Herald, and it would honestly be one that would, if both teams opt into it, could really be detrimental to the losing side, as now we're starting to see a couple items completed on a few champions. And with that, a lot more damage. Means a lot harder punishes on missteps of positioning or miscommunications on where you need to be engaging. And in an online environment, mistakes like that are a little bit more prone, so both teams need to be on their best behavior if they want to be taking a fight around this Rift Herald. That is, of course, all in theory. Still a minute out on that one. And maybe before that even happens, Rascal Jester might be looking for an opportunity onto the bot lane here. Flash is available onto Nagi. Sprout's going to take a magical voyage back to the safety of his turret. And Once is looking for a way into the jungle here, possibly looking to bait the river. Has a decent amount of control wards, so he has safety to play between. But he's seeing Art rotating up here to the Rift Herald as well. They're 3 men strong. That's about 2 men too many that then Once wants to find here. And what you just saw there with the Rift Herald, or with the plate goal change off, is exactly what I was mentioning with Burning Core, as they don't exactly have all of the strongest lanes, and when sometimes they get pushed around a bit, or when they're forced to rotate for objectives that they're barely scraping away with, it just pays so much to the opposing team's wallets that they can take the time and say, hey, these are a couple free turret plates that we might not have otherwise gotten. But Burning Core rotating too many members for an objective that they could have easily passed over on will mean that exactly that. But speaking of passing over objectives, it looks like Burning Core are going to pass over this second Rift Herald. It will be a knockdown top lane almost instantly, but it does seem that for now, Burning Core are just going to try and push down the bot lane turret, possibly trying to race the Rift Herald into turret play. This will be gold lost for Ray in the top lane, but they might be able to get the first turret on the bottom side. I'm waiting for the camera to pan over, but with the turret that low, Rascal Jester are actually going to grab it without the Rift Herald's need. And first turret given over to Art and Cogcog. Well, the turret is traded over. Yu-Gi-Oh looking for an opportunity here. W's in and forces the ultimate right away from Pink. Team fight tool down, but how do you find the engages to really be punishing that? Is the question on Burning Core's mind. And this is once again the third Cloud Drake, or Cloud Rift, showing up on the map today, and this is once again one of those issues where, with neither team 100% pulling away with a lead, you do have a 1k gold advantage in Rascal Jester's favor, as well as a Rift Herald yet to be cashed in on. It's nice, but it is not absolute in fight winning. So this game could still go either way, and Cloud Drakes are not too commonly all-in over, so we'll see where this game leads us. As Proud and Once playing a dangerous game, walking that close to Nagi, who does have the depth charge available. We'll see how things go here. The posturing around this river bush with pink cords has just been a game of who's going to step up to bat first. And we'll see how things go here for Rascal Jester. They have inside track to the Drake. They can start it up at their leisure. And you can see the hawk shot flying in. It'll be the call. But they're on the Drake, half HP on that one. Shock Blast gonna go wide, not finding his way onto Once. Yu-Gi-Oh's first to poke his head over the wall. Burning Core, a little bit disconnected here. Will need to make a call if they want to fight here. Tempered Fate lands onto 2 very important members of Rascal Jester. The stuns landing onto Art is enough to keep him locked up for a very long time, as he will be the burning down Camille and flashing away to safety in the end. But where will that leave his team as the ultimate from the Volibear goes down, flashes his way onto Yuhi and burns him down. Yu-Gi-Oh picking up 1 trade kill in the meantime. That's going to be Jace falling as well, and immediately after, Yu-Gi-Oh picks up his second kill. Overall, a 3 for 2. Benefit to Burning Core on the kill count, but Drake given over to Rascal Jester, and Art getting away with his life and a kill and his back, or I believe just an assist. He did most of the damage, but 0-5 as he hasn't quite secured himself an actual kill just yet. And we'll watch this one more time. This is the scary thing of Aphelios, is you cannot be melee diving onto an Aphelios. Stun into stun. He's so low, but Pink drafted specifically for this reason, where Art is just able to do enough damage, keep the Severum healing going long enough that he can flash away to safety. The unfortunate part is that once he's out of the fight, the rest of Rascal Jester don't have a huge carry to really rely on. So while Ray does lose his life going for that dive, forcing out his flash and getting him out of the fight was enough that Burning Core were able to trade a couple kills back. And with the gold count evening up, it's not a bad position to be in if you are Burning Core.
もう外に使ってこのタワーに対してヘッドバット打たせたいということですね。
さあしかしバーニングコアもミッドレーンにすぐさま人数寄せていきます。ただタックルは止められそうもありません。
And that's a siege down the mid lane. Another Tempered Fate. This time 4 members. He has a beautiful stun opportunity onto Art. That's a long chain of CC over to Art. And once again, Burning Core picking their positions beautifully. That is the second time that it has started off with Tempered Fate lands on to Art. You can get a stun from Bard, then you had a stun from Ray, and an arrow that landed 2 for 2 onto Art, who is the exact member that you want it to be on if you are Burning Core. They're gonna start up this Baron objective here. Rascal Jester just gonna be forcing their way in, shooting those shock blasts to try and knock down members. 3k HP, they should just be able to finish this one off unless Hachimecha has anything to say about a steal. Once is going very low, smites it, gives him enough HP to live out on that one, and now the fight ensuing might just go Burning Core's way as Pink's going very, very low. Ray Farkey flashes forward, but it will be once finding him with the Kazakhs W.
駆け引き後方でずっとポジション仕掛けるとプレッシャーかけた判断が
And while Burning Core may have let the early game slip a bit, they are bouncing back hard in this game. With Baron in their hands, what are they going to be able to make of it? As well as 4-1 on the Kazakhs. And watch it here one more time. Eyes go to Art and Yuhi's ultimate. Just so much time. Even with a Lulu ultimate, there's just so much play of CCing this Aphelios over and over again.
はいキャリーしましたね。
Art didn't get to play the game. Art was sitting there wondering. You know, in a lot of the fighting games like Marvel or a lot of the very long combo-oriented fighting games where you're sitting there and you said, he DP'd me on Wake Up, and now I'm sitting here for the next couple minutes while I watch Art die, and there's just nothing you can really do about it. Is imagining, or that's how I imagine Art is really feeling at the end of this one.
ですがただちょっとピンク選手のアーデン
So Rascal Jester will need to do a little bit better job protecting
ハリケーンまで
protecting him from Burning Core's onslaught of CC.
ここが耐え時ですかね。
このタイミングで当たってしまうと間違いなく負けてしまう。
負けてしまいますね。
さあこのバロンタイミング、バーニングコアは
And we'll kind of enjoy the lull state a little bit while longer. And as a Dredgeline lands a beautiful ulti snipe from Proud, but that's not going to be enough to save Yuhi, as now Art has the chakrams available to make this fight work for him. Hachimecha is going to be going forward, but it's going to be Nagi who finds a Dredgeline to knock up Proud. Going to be trying to lock up Ray Farkey as long as he can. Will there be enough stuns to keep him locked up? No, gonna have the Cloud Drake move speed bonus to try and get away from that one. But that's Rascal Jester finding a couple good kills as Yu-Gi-Oh's trying to cut the wave to hopefully buy his turrets a little bit more time. He will have Baron Empowered Recall to escape onto that one. He's actually going to cancel his back here, as Art might find him just before he gets away. That's a Chakram landed. Yu-Gi-Oh still has a little bit of running left to do.
怖くはありますが
He's going to land the chain onto Art here. I don't think he has. Oh my goodness, Yu-Gi-Oh! He's just a boy as he knocks him down in his own base. Now Gawkog's trying to take his time to dance, but Yu-Gi-Oh says, do you want the same smoke that your AD just got? He does as a hammer flip comes in, knocks him down. Yu-Gi-Oh kind of in his own base. It takes a lot of disrespect to walk into someone's home and slap them across the face like you just did to Art there, but at the end of the day, Aphelios or not, you are still an AD carry. And that is still a LeBlanc who is happy to give you the 1-2.
選手ソーサラシューズとモルノミコン完成しましたからね。
まあ
But overall, not a bad position for Rascal Jester. Losing that kill, little bit unfortunate, but the Baron overall, at the end, only netted you a couple hundred gold. I believe it was almost 187 or close to that number, which is not what you want to be seeing from a Baron play, but does lead into interesting play going forward, as Nagi has been a highlight player throughout most of this game. This has actually been a support showcase between Proud and Nagi, both Proud finding so many great ultimates, and then Nagi finding multiple opportunities to keep members locked up and find fights for his team. Even in positions where you would feel like Burning Core has Baron, they should be on the lead in this dance. Nagi is able to turn that one around, and we'll see if the supports are able to keep this action up going forward here. Baron is going to be the next objective up before the following Cloud Drake. And with Drake counts even, they're not exactly too worried about his Soul opportunity getting away. But that does lead into talking about, with these teams, who is really benefiting from Soul more often. And ultimately, the answer is really neither. It actually is one of those interesting cases where the ult CDR is going to be much more important than the actual move speed bonus, where Yu-Gi-Oh having that extra spell from the Mimic ultimate is going to be very useful for the double W's, getting around fights, dashing over, and just chunking out members like Hachamecha here before he just retreats back out to safety. Then there is also Yuhi and Proud. If you can just be slinging ultimates out looking for catches with no real regard to your own your ultimate CDs, not a bad way to just start looking for fights or picks over and over again. Both junglers on each side kind of benefit from the move speed bonus, but it's nothing too immense, as Yuji's going to come over the wall, trying to see if he can sneak away with a blue buff, but other than a little damage over onto Pink, not a whole lot to be found there. As Yu-Gi-Oh is really feeling himself for the remainder of this game. The unfortunate part is that you do have such a large shutdown on Once in this with the Kazakhs pick, who this is where things are only going to get harder and harder for Once, where you have your two core items, but all Rascal Jester are really going to do is team fight, and finding your way around team fights as a Kazakhs can be very difficult, especially with Pink throwing ultimate onto Art, who is the only member that you really care about. He should be able to hopefully pop Pink, and once you blow up a Lulu, you hope that you can pull some of the damage away, but it still doesn't solve the issue of there is a big bad Aphelios in your way who is going to start melting every one of your melee characters should they happen to wander too close. But Once with a great find here onto Cog. Ooh, the Shock Blast trading an equal amount of damage back over. That's going to be Flash for Flash. As both of the lethality carries kind of showing each other exactly what this game looks like for them. Sort of a handshake among two assassin-y builds where they just kind of look at each other and say, well, one of us will blow the other one up, or we're both going to flash away on blinking HP bars. No flashes that time means maybe time yet for them to decide who the best lethality user is on their own. But in the meantime, they're looking to hold on to this mid lane. A little bit of positioning from Once and Ray around the bot side here. A lot of pink wards, but smartly knowing to back off. A lot of members of Rascal Jester are missing, and they don't want to get caught out here. Once is a little bit bold here, looking for an opportunity. A ton of damage onto Art, but where's the follow-up? Not quite able to get in there. Just going to be getting him down to about half HP and dashing away from that one. I would love to see the upgrades. I know he upgraded Q and W so far, but the question is where his last upgrade will be going. Coming up soon, but now the Cloud Drake is going to be the subject of interest. Yu-Gi-Oh wandering around on a flank here. Don't believe he's been spotted just yet. and can wait for a couple cooldowns to hopefully burst his way onto Art. He has full sums, so doesn't need to worry about that, and the pink ward spotting him out will negate the flank for now, but the Dragon's pulled back over into Burning Core side of things, as Hachimecha is going to try to wander forward here. The smite from the Kazakhs is going to be the one that picks that one up, and Rascal Jester not going to entertain the idea of a fight just yet. They are going to look for a way out of this one. While Burning Core hold the inside track to their base, we'll take a red buff in tow and start to set up vision around this Baron objective.
さあ集団戦をせずドラゴン獲得はバーニングコアとなっています。
It looks like they're going to be starting it up right away. The rest of Rascal Jester on their way. It's going to be first checked by Hachimecha and Kaga, who are going to eat a Tempered Fate ultimate. Does that buy enough time? It does! They're going to smite that one Magical Journey away. And Burning Core make out like bandits with their second Baron of the game.
もう全くリスクなく取りましたね。
完璧でしたね。ドラゴン取った後、最短のルート
And that's going to be a great pickup for Burning Core. You're hoping that Burning Core are going to be able to make more or better use of this Baron than their last one. But ultimately a Baron that cost them absolutely nothing. As Once is going to find out Kog'Kog while he's backing. Don't think he quite had the reaction times ready for that one. And Once comes back for the run back on Kog'Kog, knocking him down alone in the jungle. Is exactly what you want to see, what you want if you are a Kazakhs. So not a bad find for Once there, as he says, I'd like a rematch from our bout from earlier. I'm not happy with a draw. Rascal Jester looking to push up the mid lane now. Gonna be a little bit difficult pushing into Baron empowered minions, but they might be able to do a decent amount of damage to this turret. They are losing turrets on the bottom and top end of the map. As Ray's going to knock that one down, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Should have a little bit of time alone on the top side to let those Baron minions do their work. Tempered Fate's going to go in, though, and that's going to be their call to look for plays on the mid lane. That's going to be the Ash Arrow on to Pink there. He's going to go down first. Nagi's looking for a hook to try and get himself out of this, but the Stone Plate's not going to be enough. A huge Aphelios ultimate with the Flamethrower is going to do a lot of damage, but at this point, you have two members already down. Your main engage and your support for your Aphelios already gone down. Two summoners burned on Aphelios. This is going to be all the pressure in favor of Burning Core right now, as they're going to pivot back over to the top side with all of the outer turrets, leaving only inhibitor turrets left available. And the rest of Burning Core just going to shove up the lane and likely be taking a reset here. About a 4.5k gold take from their Baron Hall. Not a bad deal by any means, as they're looking to go spend a bit of that before they have to return to duke it out once more with Rascal Jester, likely going to be around this next Cloud Drake objective. And we'll see things kind of moving forward here from Burning Core. Is Once really going to be able to do the same amount of burst damage to Art? He is finally going into the Death Stance, which is going to make his job very, very difficult, as Death Stance does such a good job of negating assassins wholeheartedly. So Burning Core going to need to kind of find the same fights that they did earlier of CC chains onto this Aphelios if they're looking to find a way through this fight. But we'll see how things go here. They have a decent amount of time before that objective is relevant, and they can keep waves pushed into Rascal Jester in the meantime, so that they can retain as much vision control as they need. But with Art cleaning up item or wave upon wave and getting closer to those items, things only get a little bit scarier for the people whose job it is to be knocking down those Aphelios. See, Gio's looking over the wall here, trying to find a bit of harass onto Hachimecha. But so much darkness and shrouded vision for Rascal Jester to be pushing through. They can lead the bear in. They're going to make a call, looking to run all in onto Yuhi, kind of just trying to run him down, but the Bork is going to give him enough move speed to get away from that. And now the turn play is on if Burning Core want it. Yu-Gi-Oh sneaking around in the vision pockets. Will he be able to find his way onto pink before he is spotted? The rest of Rascal Jester are trying to make their way forward up to this Cloud Drake. They don't want to give up Soul, but they might just have to if Burning Core is able to find the flanking routes that they need. Yuhi onto the Drake already. That's going to be going down as Burning Core going to be securing Cloud Soul. Rascal Jester have inside track to the mid lane. But is that where you want to be? Tempered Fate thrown down just to save the turret? Will only buy them so much time as Burning Core's a little bit split up on this fight. They're gonna have to find ways to take the engage here, but with their members so disconnected, Rascal Jester have more time on this mid lane turret. Knocking that one down, they can look for an inhibitor as well, but what will it mean when the fight is on? And here we go, the ultimate is landed onto Art. He's just gonna get blown right up. No chance for the Aphelios to get a lot of value as Burning Core just poke and prod at the lines of Rascal Jester until they could peel the entire thing apart. QSS of the Ash Arrow was not enough. There was just enough time for the assassins to really get in, blow up Art, and that is going to be Burning Core taking home this game. And that will unfortunately mean Rascal Jester's going 0-2 in this week, as Burning Core should just be able to end the game here. Their first win of week 5 secured, and ultimately, this is a game where I would love to praise Burning Core for their tool usage, and it really shows when you're watching this team. Every Tempered Fate was immediately capitalized off of. The Ash Arrow found its mark multiple times over, and we'll watch it here one more time. So no Tempered Fate this time. They just walk forward, and there's just not enough protection. Art gets stunned by one thing, and then the chain of CC is on. And once he goes down, there's just nothing you can do. The Hugify not going to save any of them from the damage that Burning Core has to offer. Because I do think Proud had a DFM sign on, showing a little bit of favor over to the international winners of the LJL. But with about 1,000 gold advantage over to Burning Core here, this is likely where Burning Core will really be able to kind of hopefully put a nail in the coffin of this one. 2 minutes on the Baron clock. But the hook starts up things from Nagi. He has an opportunity. Gonna throw out the death charge, and that's gonna be a dead Bard. But what will the fight ensue afterwards, as once is caught alone on the other end of things? This is the fight that Rascal Jester are looking for, as Art has a lot of time to keep doing damage. His front line is gone, but he wants more. He knows he needs to be the hero here. But is there enough time? Ray Farkey's going forward, has a little bit of a shield to try and buy himself some time, but Yuhi's gonna go down. Art is hiding this one out beautifully. But there's nothing you can do, as Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna pick up the scraps of that fight. And that's going to be game. GG's over to the side of Burning Core, as they're gonna march down the Nexus here. Rascal Jester try to hold on to the bitter end, but unfortunately for them, Burning Core, just too many team fights. Burning Core was able to play pretty much to maximum efficiency of what they want their tools to do. So, honestly, great play from Burning Core. Grants them their first win. We're going to be taking another break here before we get into the next game. I am your host, Dr. No. If you guys have been enjoying the stream, feel free to go ahead and drop a follow. I'm sorry I'm dropping a little bit of frames. Every now and again, my internet is not exactly holding up to par, but can't exactly do a whole lot of that at the moment. If you guys would like, feel free to drop a follow. I do all of the LJL English casts, so that, and I am going to try to stick it out for all 8 games today. I don't know if I physically can. I am still a one-man operation, but I do really appreciate you guys showing me support. Gonna be taking a quick break before we get into our next game. Gonna go refill on water and everything like that. Stay hydrated. And in the meantime, hope you guys are all doing well. we wait for our next game, which is going to be Burning Core, right back up to bat. versus Axis Gaming. 1-1 or 1-0 for both of them. We'll see who's going to be finishing this week out 2-0.
いやー、まあ、本当に序盤からアグレッシブな両チームの戦いということでキルが発生する展開になっていきましたけれども、まあ、ただその中で、まあ、的確に、スキルを当てていった、バーニンコアの勝利ということになりました。それでは、勝利したバーニンコアへのヒーローインタビュー、エルゲス選手へのヒーローインタビューがございます。下月さんお願いいたします。
はい、こちらにはバーニングコアのエウゲオ選手にお越しいただきました。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
はい、まずは初勝利を収めました。そしてエウゲオ選手は初のヒーローインタビューになりますが、いかがですか？
結構緊張してます。
緊張してますか？はい、じゃあそれではいろいろ聞かせていただきたいと思います。それでは勝さんお願いいたします。
はい、まずは今シーズンからの新人選手ということですが、どうですか？まず LJL でのそのプレーっていうのはやっぱ初めみんな緊張するっていうところなんですが、慣れてきましたか？
そうですね、最初の方本当に緊張してやばかったんですけど、徐々に慣れてきたんですけど、やっぱ今週がやっぱ3週間空いて久しぶりだったので、やっぱ今日は結構最初お腹痛くて緊張してました。
なるほど。そんな中でただエウゲオ選手とワン選手のその2人の連携っていうのはバーニコアの武器になりつつあるなと思いますが、そこはどうですか？
そうですね、やっぱりワンスとの連携というよりやっぱワンスが普通にうまいので、やっぱワンスのコールを聞いて、まあ、僕がそれに答えて合わせてみたいな感じでやってるので、やっぱワンスうまいですね。ワンスがやっぱうまいって感じです。
なるほど。どうですか？自分のパフォーマンスはやっぱりそのプロとして経験を積んでいく中でなんか上がってきてるなみたいな手応えとかありますか？
そうですね、やっぱ試合ごとにやっぱりこうした方がもっと良かったのかなみたいなフィードバック自分でしてるんで、やっぱ試合ごとにちょっと徐々に良くなってるかなって感じで思ってます。
いいですね、ありがとうございます。あと今日そのプラウド選手のバードも非常に素晴らしかったと思うんですが、プラウドがアウト当てるよとかそういう連携っていうのはどう取ってるんですか？
そうですね、やっぱプラウド自身めっちゃうまいんですけど、そのウルトの今回だったらそのバロンを始めてプラウドがバードウルトを止めたところとかも、ワンスとかとりあえずチームでバードウルトで止めたらどうみたいな話が出て、それでプラウドが合わせるみたいな感じでやってるんで、まあほとんどプラウドやっぱり全試合めちゃくちゃすごいパフォーマンスで出てて、まあ個人技がすごいので、やっぱプラウドがまあこれ行くよみたいな感じでウルト打ってみたいなことが多いので、プラウドさすがです。
なるほどなるほど。プラウド選手の判断とあとはワンスのそのコールっていうところですが、
そうですね。
そこエウゲ選手も全部理解してるっていうことは、そのコミュニケーションを今言語的にはどうしてるんですか？
普通にワンスが日本語上手なので日本語喋って、でプラウドも結構話せはしないけど、まあ結構理解してるみたいな雰囲気で理解するみたいな感じで連携取れてるので、結構コミュニケーション